This is our discussion about media and the legislation and contracts in the industry.
A contract is a binding legal agreement which basically means an exchange of promises between two people.
The contract must not be enforced illegal practices or be impossible for the employee to complete. If a contract is breached and recognised by the law, then discipline will be enforced.
Contracts could be written, but they could also be agreed orally. It's a disadvantage if you only agree without writing the contract down, as you could not have no material evidence to use to prove the terms agreed.
But the contract is a form of economical ordering throughout the world. However, different rules apply in correspondence with civil laws.
Full-time employees are hired for an indefinite period of time. This is more than 35 hours per week.
With this contract, the employment is treated at will, which means the employer can change his mind whenever he feels the need to.
Fixed-term contracts mean the employee is full-time and has an actual contract which specifies a period of time to work.
To terminate this kind of contract, the employee must prove that they have a just cause, or they will be found liable for compensation that would have become payable.
Another type of contract is freelance. This contract means that the employee is not usually an employee for the company, but rather an independent contractor. The employee is called a freelancer.
The freelancer will be brought into a complete certain job for a finite period of time.
The exclusivity of the contract means that they can only work for the company as they have signed the contract.
Confidentiality is important in the media business, and new employers will be informed as to whether they will need to sign a confidentiality agreement, which protects information on things such as new TV shows leaking to the press and public.
It also stops competitors knowing what you are doing.
The recipient of this information cannot disclose or use the information. Employment legislation in the media industry.
Cameras, ants, lighting and sound systems all have wires that have to be kept safely away from the walkway.
Health and safety is important in the media industry as there is a lot of work with electrical equipment.
Risk assessments should be carried out accordingly and are done frequently.
Also, staff must be in good physical health so that they are able to lift heavy objects, such as amps and large cameras.
Equal opportunity. Everyone working and applying for a job in the media should have as equal opportunity as the next person.
It's the employer's responsibility to keep the workplace safe.
In the media, you'll find that there are a lot more men than women, but hopefully with this act, the number of women will increase.
For example, the Sex Discrimination Act of 1975. This makes it unlawful to discriminate on the grounds of sex or marital status.
This means that people with British qualifications should not be favoured over those with international ones.
The Race Regulations Act of 1976 makes it unlawful to discriminate on grounds of race, colour, nationality, or ethnic or national origin.
The Employment Equality Regulations of 2006 makes it unlawful to discriminate on the grounds of age. The British retirement age is 65. However, and the terms of this Act do not apply to someone whose age is 65 or over, the employer can refuse to offer the job to a person.
The Disability Discrimination Act of 1995 places a duty on an employer to make reasonable adjustments to the premises of work and practice to allow a disabled person to be employed. This applies to organisations employing over 20 people.
Employer's liability.
Chance of injury in the media is high and employers have to pay damages to employees for injuries sustained during employment.
Minimum wage should apply to all businesses and nobody should be receiving lower than this.
Employees' rights. Employees are entitled to.
This means the employer has to be insured for no less than £5 million.
Minimum wage.
Itemised pay.
Paid holiday leave.
Terms and conditions of the contract in writing.
Bonuses promised.
Paid sick leave.
Employees have a contract and it is important that the employee knows the terms as not to break them.
And have protection against unfair dismissal at work.
Minimum pay for under 18s is £3.57 per hour and 22 or over is £5.80 per hour.
Employees should have maximum hours of work per day or week, and jobs employing young people would usually be 40 hours per week.
This could include the negotiation of wages, rules, complaint procedures, rules on hiring and firing, benefits and workplace safety and policies.
Most workers belong to a trade union. This means the union they are a member of will fight for fair terms and social justice at work.
Media, Entertainment and Arts Alliance.
There are many trade unions in the media, including the Broadcasting, Entertainment, Cinematograph and Theatre Union.
Intellectual property. This is when an owner has certain exclusive rights to a variety of assets, such as words, signs, music and literature.
and the Federation of Media Employees Trade Unions.
Trademark is how a product or company is identified to consumers. It is known as a trademark if the TMC or SM symbol is used after the name or logo.
Common types of intellectual property include copyrights. This means that a set of exclusive rights is granted to the author or creator of the original work. A person wanting to use the work must first gain rights, otherwise there will be legal issues to deal with.
Industrial design rights protect the shape, design, colouring or aesthetic value of an object so it cannot be used by others.
A patent is the rights granted by national government to an investor in exchange for public disclosure of a product or invention. These rights prevent distribution, selling, or making of the product without permission from the patent holder.
Having access to this property is important because, for example, if a TV producer gains rights to use a certain song, then it can overall improve the production, making more money.
Trade secrets is information known by few in the business. This can give an advantage to the business owners who hold the information, which can lead to more economical value.
Plagiarism is unlawful, and people can be sued if found guilty of this act.
Passing off is a law that prevents a person from misinterpreting goods or services as having some association with the plaintiff.
If a piece of work has been replicated, copied or stolen without permission, this is plagiarism.
The 1995 Random House Dictionary describes plagiarism as close imitation of the language and thoughts of another author and representation of them as one's own original work.
Rights in the media. Certain rights need to be checked when employing.
In the media, it is easy to accidentally base an idea off a show of another one, such as the themes. So the show must be changed vastly so as it cannot be sued.
These rights state that it's wrong to judge and religious needs should be considered but not violated when employing.
An employer must take into account skills and not judge them if they're disabled or from a different ethnic background.
For example, it's wrong to say a man has to film just because the title of the role is cameraman.
Also, employers cannot be stereotypical.
Logos and brand names should not be used if permission from the company has not been granted.
Filming rights should be checked as it may be illegal to film where needed.
Legal requirements.
The Broadcasting Act of 1990 was an act that was aimed to reform the entire structure of British broadcasting.
The Broadcasting Act of 1996, which was 3 years after I was born, amended certain elements of the 1990 Act. This included relaxing ownership provisions,
Provisions protecting Channel 3 regional programming,
To alter Channel 4 funding formula.
And to merge the BSC and the BCC.
Only the 1959 and the 1946 Acts are still in force in England and Wales. They define legal bans of obscenity and are used to enforce the censorship of obscene material.
The BBFC is responsible for the national classification of films within the UK.
It also has statutory requirements to classify videos, DVDs and some video games under the Video Recordings Act of 2010.
Ofcom is the regulator and competition authority for the communications industries in the United Kingdom.
Ofcom is responsible for the management, regulation, assignment and licensing of the electromagnetic spectrum in the UK.
Most of the regulations in place have been inherited from previous regulators.
Thank you for listening to our discussion. We hope you've enjoyed it.